I think we're live.
We are live.
Are we live?
I think we're live.
Are we doing it fucking live?
Are we live?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wait,
Hello.
We're live?
How many times can we say live in the
Live,
first
live.
20
Live,
seconds
live.
of the live stream?
There we go.
Hello, and welcome to another episode of Expressions the Podcast. We're on season 3, episode 22, but this is the final episode of season 3 before we start our season 4. Thank you so much for joining us. Anybody who's interested in joining us live, this is the first ever time that we are attempting a live podcast, and we're super excited about it. So thank you so much for joining us if you are. And if you're listening to this back, thanks so much for listening to this back with us. We have a very interesting topic today that we are super excited to talk on. I've been talking about it for what seems like weeks with Brian. So I'm quite interested to see where this conversation will go. Basically, it's about what things, what people do on social media, ranging from the best of the best to the worst of the worst, and the things people risk and do while they're doing things for social media. So I think it's going to be a pretty interesting topic. But before we get into that, I'd like to say hi to my co-hosts, Brian, Sean, and Mark. Mark, how are you doing today?
I'm actually doing pretty good. It's been a while since we've been together. Lots has changed. We've got our first viewer.
Hi.
So that's awesome. Hi, Stephanie. So that's awesome. So yeah, it was interesting. There were some rumors floating around there, but contrary to what people may have heard, the rumors of my death were greatly overrated. So I didn't actually die. It was potentially close there, but thanks to some quick thinking staff and doctors and nurses at the hospital, I'm still here. So it was a lot of fun and a 4-week recovery, but I'm back to work and lots of fun. So that's sort of my biggest news. I didn't die. That's I can hear my friend Len now going, "But did you die?" And I'm like, "No, I didn't die." Right,
Well, here's the funny thing that I notice, and to get on the social media rant for a quick second, you're one of the people that has a health issue and a very serious health issue, and it's great seeing you because this is the first time I've really seen you since it happened. So
yeah,
hi Mark.
But I'm right here.
You didn't go on social media and say, "Hey everybody, feel for me, I've just had a heart attack." There's so many differing ways that people handle their social media, and that's just an observation that you didn't do any of that. Nobody would have known.
And it's actually funny that you say that, because there are so many things that I keep, like, I'll share, I went to this event and here's some pictures and, happy birthday, Brian, whatever. But I tend to keep personal things fairly personal. Like, now I'm going to seem like the most bastard son there ever was, but my mother passed earlier this year. I didn't plaster that everywhere either. So like, it's a personal thing. Like, I'll talk about it with you guys. You're my friends. And obviously you're not hearing about it for the first time tonight. So I talked to all the people that I wanted to know. I either text them or called them after it happened. So, it's just one of those things where I don't need a gazillion people jumping on it. I mean, there was another photography community that I did post it in, but it's a very small community, and again, full of mostly friends. So I felt safe posting it in there, and I knew it wasn't going to be a lot of fanfare. So that was good. But yeah, that's me. That's if you have a health issue and you want to post it, then hey, good for you. Like, I guarantee you'll find the support you need. Right.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And it's different for everyone. Yeah. I do want to say that this is pretty awesome.
This is.
Yeah.
Thank you, Steph.
We got twoted about
you.
She twoted about us.
That's amazing.
Well, isn't that now she's X'd about us?
Yeah, I guess.
Is that a thing? Social media, ever changing.
Yeah, always changing.
Anyway,
yeah.
I'm going to shut up now. I guess.
Well,
Sean.
I mean, as you know, Mark, we're all super happy that you're okay and everything's doing well, and the procedure you went through went over very well. And yeah, so I'm
Thank
super
you.
happy to see you in person.
Thank you.
I talked to Brian about this, like ever since it happened, I was, like worried and, scared for you and stuff like that. So it's really great just like seeing you and talking to you and
Well, I
all that.
appreciate
So
I appreciate that. But what's
yeah.
funny, the ambulance ride, there are two things came out of the ambulance ride. I mean, first off was this is Canadian healthcare. I got a bill for the ambulance ride. It was $45 to get me to the hospital. And I didn't get lights and sirens. So I kind of feel a little ripped off because, I guess I wasn't imminently dying. So I didn't get lights and sirens, but I did get my first ever ride in an ambulance. So that was cool. But on the way over, of course, they're asking you questions upon questions upon questions, right? Because they're trying to get a history, and you quickly realize why they're asking these questions. Like, she asked a couple of questions about my tattoos because obviously she put an IV in and whatnot, and why do I have sharks? And so I explained to her that I used to be a scuba instructor and I love sharks, and she goes, oh, so you're a diver? I go, yeah. She goes, have you been diving lately, like in the last 72 hours? No. So it's amazing how just through a conversation, all of a sudden she's like, ooh, this guy's a diver. I wonder if maybe he's got decompression sickness or an air embolism or something like that. So the questioning starts going in there, right? And the next thing she found out was that my wife is a nurse. And she goes, whoa, wait a minute. Your wife is a nurse and you woke up with chest pain this morning and went to work? And I go, yeah. And she goes, your wife's gonna be mad at you, and yeah, she wasn't wrong.
Yeah.
Well, good to see you, man.
Yeah. But yeah, no, it's amazing, and you had good people taking care of you and all that. So glad to have you back on the show. And Sean. Thank you. Yeah. Sean, how are you?
I'm good. Can y'all hear me? I'm just making sure my mic is good. I forgot to check it with Brian when I got in the chat earlier.
I can hear you. There's a bit of an echo, but we can hear you.
Probably just because like I'm in a fucking, room with no nerdy shit in it, and it's just whatever's left of my collection.
It's just not enough nerdy shit.
No, it's not. It's never enough. Like it's literally never enough. And I hate it. No, I'm good. I've had a very, very, very busy last few weeks. It's a lot to explain, but I mean, I didn't almost die, so there's that. Mark, I'm still am very happy to get to see it tonight, man. Like that was some scary shit that we were up and talking about that one night, and I'm so to get to see Mark, dude. Like I think my whole week was like I just want to see Mark. I want to see Mark so bad.
See, now I feel all fucking special.
Just a little bit.
Well, you are.
Yeah, no,
say it.
Fucking busy shit.
Yeah. So, how have things been with you? Anything in particular you want to highlight or anything like that?
Not necessarily right at the moment, but I'm going to get there eventually at some point.
For sure.
Lots of stuff coming down the pipeline. But
definitely.
Planet Pointless is back. I think I've said this so many times already before. But
that's awesome.
Yeah, we're almost at 100 episodes, which is funny. So we're nearing that one episode where we go back and we look at all the stupid shit that I've said.
Hang on. I just watched our 6 o'clock episode that we just posted today. And you said that when you hit 100 episodes, you're going to get your chest waxed.
Yep.
And I thought, why would you do that? This is an audio podcast. Who's going to want to hear you screaming? But
I might pay for that. I might pay for that.
See, that can be one of the things people do for social media, right? Like people, like I've seen, there was a trend for a while where guys wax their legs and other various parts of their body on social media for the views. Not
this guy.
How about you, Brian? How are you doing?
Oh man, it's been a rough week.
It's only Monday.
I know. The days all blend. They all blend. I did a stupid. Okay, so we're talking about social media, right? I told Sean this earlier. I shot for a wrestling company recently, and I took some pictures that hadn't come to fruition yet. There was something that happened that I took pictures of, and I wasn't supposed to share them yet. But of course, the dumbass that I am, when I shared the album with all the other pictures, those kind of snuck through. And I got a call. I had to pull the whole album down. So it's just stupid. I get very hard on myself, like this. At the last episode of our show, Sean gave the advice at the end to learn to laugh at yourself. And I heard that at about 7:00 today. And I thought, yeah, I should just kind of laugh this off, but I can't. This is like important information for people that paid me to help, and social media sucks. So that's my take on it. Don't use social media, especially not when you're posting a whole album at 2-3 o'clock in the morning, which I
and there is that when you often make mistakes when you're
using
posting
social media
or completing things at in the wee hours of the morning or the oh my god hours in the morning. You tend to make mistakes, so sometimes you're almost better to just leave it, go to bed, and then get up. And I know I've done it with photography. I've been shooting in the Studio K for hours, and suddenly it's like 3:30 in the morning, and I just want to get this last shot done, and you make a mistake, right? And sometimes it's costly.
Yeah, but to be honest, we are all our own worst critics. I know people, make mistakes. Everybody makes mistakes. I'm very hard on myself when I make mistakes. I know from experience working with Brian, like Brian's very hard on himself when he makes mistakes, and don't be too hard on yourself. I mean, it was such a simple little thing, and it was early in the morning, and it was a giant album of photos, right? So,
and I did delete some that shouldn't have been shared. So like I did go through it and made the effort.
Yeah.
But...
No.
Anyway, I had survived.
Oh, what happened to Brian there?
We lost Brian.
Oh,
there
he's back.
He's back.
He's back.
I'm using my Wi-Fi. I should probably turn that off. So if I disappear for a second, don't mind me. You guys continue. I'll just do this.
Okay.
We'll just bring Stephanie in. She's there.
So yeah, I saw Stephanie's comment there. My hubby does it for wrestling, shaving. The chat is a little delayed. Oh, we apologize for that, Stephanie. But thanks for sharing. Like I know some people do for like different kinds of sports and that kind of thing, shaving and that type of thing.
Yeah.
But
swimmers are a big one for that too.
Yeah. No, I guess what I was talking about is like when they do the waxing on live and you're hearing the screams and stuff like that.
Now, it was probably done before, but it was Mel Gibson in What Women Want when he tried waxing, and apparently his reaction was genuine because he really waxed that strip, and when he fell, I think he broke a toe. So there was a lot of that was the whole reaction. Everything was actually what happened. So
oh my gosh, that's so funny! I never knew that. Yeah, I always thought that scene was really funny.
It is funny. I mean, you see these big hairy guys and they're waxing, and you're like, oh.
But yeah, no. For myself, before we get into the topic, I've been doing pretty good today. I've had a really busy day. I got up at 7 a.m. This morning to work out because we had to switch around the workout schedule this week. My personal trainer, she's doing a seminar on Friday, so we had to switch it to Monday, and the only morning appointment available was at 7 a.m. So got up super early this morning and then got a few things done with the house, and then partway through this afternoon I went to go get my car fixed with Andrew, stopped for something to eat, came back. So a lot on the plan for today. And this Wednesday, Andrew and I are doing our engagement photos
Very
/
cool.
video,
Nice.
which is going to be a lot of fun. Super exciting. Don't want to give away the whole details of that yet, just in case people who are receiving our invitations and stuff want to be surprised with that type of thing. So yeah, needless to say, I'm super excited for the concept of it and the pictures. It's a real merge of things that both Andrew and I love and like doing, and I think that's probably like the biggest theme of our wedding is it's merging our two styles and different interests together for a big party for us, you know.
Very cool.
Yeah, so
Very
super
cool.
excited about that.
Well, I will be excited to see the results once they're
Yeah,
published. if you will.
yeah, of course.
Awesome.
Yeah, so let's get into it. The
There's
things people
so
do for social media. Do we want to start off with positive or
What I want to start
negative?
off with is what is it? Like, why do people need it? What's the point of social media? Why do people really crave it? I know some of us use it for all kinds of different reasons. So maybe we can just kind of go over some of the reasons that we individually rely on it
Absolutely.
or fall back on it, or some of the frustrations we have with it off the bat.
Yeah. Okay. So, reasons why I use social media. Often to draw inspiration for things, whether it's like a creative shoot or something different I want to try, like a new hobby or something like that, inspiration and instructions, or like ideas for recipes and that type of thing. Those are kind of like the reasons why I would do that. I think in general, people crave validation from people.
Yeah.
And when you get followers and likes and subscribers and let's say you post something and there's lots of interaction on that post or whatever it may be, it's a way of getting validation from other people. So I think that like is a big part of it.
I would agree with that. There's nothing, as a photographer, there's nothing worse than posting a picture that you think is one of your best ever, and you get like 4 likes on it.
Yeah.
And then I take a snapshot of a dog, and I get 90 likes, and I'm like, it's like a snapshot with a cell phone versus using a DSLR and setting up lights and off-camera flash and processing it and everything, and all of a sudden you're like, wow. But I mean, the dog is cute, so what are you gonna do?
Stephanie, the subject is perfect for me to be watching. That's amazing. I'd love to hear more about why this subject is perfect. For you to be
Stephanie does a
watching.
lot of makeup work, and she uses social media
very
for
cool.
a lot of things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In fact,
Awesome.
she'd be great to ask to be in.
I was just gonna say,
Yeah.
why don't we just ask her
to
if she
have you on
have her as a guest?
on season 4.
Season.
Yeah, or even like now.
Yeah.
If she
Yeah.
says yes. Send her a link. But
Send
no,
her
Send her the link.
don't want to put her on the spot. That would
No,
be
no. Would be awkward.
No, Steph is the wife of Kirk Warmack, who's a wrestler friend. So Steph's a friend for years, and yeah, definitely on social media quite a bit for a lot of reasons. I mean, just like Kirk is a wrestler, he needs his social media, right? Stephanie does all her work as well.
It's
She needs
it's
reason.
promotion, right? Oh, she's working.
Oh, she's in the
There you go.
well, we will get you on down the road.
Yeah.
Yeah,
We'll reach
get her
out
on.
to you
So-
on another occasion.
There you go. So that's actually a yes from Stephanie. Awesome.
Woo.
Yeah.
But yeah,
No
but
pressure,
for Stephanie and for I'm sorry, my memory is good. It's just short. Stephanie's husband, what was his name again? Kirk, right? So for Kirk, I mean, they use it for promotion. I mean, I know a lot of photographers that use their social media to try and drum up business and whatnot. So it's definitely a positive for that.
Schmeck work.
Yeah, what is? Somebody explain to me what schmeck work is. I could Google it,
Definition.
but
And I'm Jewish. I should know a word like that. but I'm not quite sure. On that one.
I like it. Schmeck. Be my word of the day tomorrow.
Sean, you are a skateboarder, so social media has been a lot of things for you as well, I'm sure.
Kind of, sort of. I mean, like, not much anymore because I just stopped giving a shit. I stopped caring, man.
I am
Maybe-
following your lead, my friend.
Mainly what it is now is like just posting about Planet Pointless. That's basically it. So like, I don't know if you guys have been seeing, like, since we come back every week, especially when I shared like the episodes to my Facebook or whatever, like I'll come up with like something stupid to kind of like put as like the caption for the post. You guys have been reading those, or is it just me? that
I
been
follow
reading?
you. You get my likes.
There you go, even better. No, it's like I've just been trying to like be like a little bit funnier, kind of like just kind of like give people, you know, a little bit of a laugh at some point during the day. So if it's just something like stupid, or like, you know, if I just share like a post about like, I don't know, some cartoon like comic strip thing of like some guy shitting himself or whatever, like I just stopped caring. I really don't give a
Yeah.
fuck.
Do you like it when
find-
people joke back with you, or has anyone ever done
Yeah,
that?
I think it's
I
fun.
do.
People that tell me all the time I drive a really fucking shitty car. Like I joke with them. I don't give a fuck.
Yeah, I like to interact with Sean's content because some of the things he like, I think our sense of humor is very similar, right? There's like that Venn diagram of things that should be joked about and things that you shouldn't joke about, and in the middle is what I actually joke about, you know.
Yeah.
So yeah,
That's what me and Mark sit very happily right in the center there.
yeah.
Oh boy.
So
Oh,
there you
gotcha.
go.
that,
Steps
that,
in.
Wait,
that makes more
socks? Socks work? No?
Socks.
Yes, yes.
We had
It's just
six
socks.
socks on our show.
Six
that was
socks,
an interesting episode.
Yes.
Oh,
That we'll go
Silver.
with socks.
Socks.
Socks. Whoa, no, she's a musician. It's sax with an A.
Yeah.
Yeah.
there you go.
Yeah.
And again, social media. There's so many avenues.
Right.
And
My
this
friend
is
is
why
Yuri.
it's fascinating to me. Now, Aurora, did you have anything you want to add, or can I just talk about something else?
Yeah, go for it. Yeah, jump into
So-
it. I want to go into like the stories and actual like specifics of things that people have done, but yeah, if you have something before that, flow in,
Okay.
go on.
I just want to quickly talk about where social media came from. It started in 1994. Actually, technically, it started in like 1844 when they invented Morse code. I know it's kind of weird, but that's pretty much the
Oh,
first social
interesting.
media, right?
There you
It's
go.
how people kept in touch without any advanced form of communication. So 1994, however, that's when a guy named Darryl Berry, a self-described photographer, writer, and social media researcher and strategist / hacker, says he
Oh,
began
wow.
using the term in 94 when he was developing an online media environment called Matisse. This is when he was living in Tokyo. So creating this online environment, he coined the term social media, which I thought is kind of cool. But it's used now for so many different things. And
Yeah.
the demographics are what surprised me. Okay, so here's something funny. Surprisingly, people between 40 and 44 spend the most time on social media across the world, followed by people from 20 to 39. And people my age, 50 plus, they're not far behind. And we're talking 59.8 minutes for the 40 to 44-year-olds, 56 minutes for people like me. Now, I'm probably on there myself way longer than 56 minutes or whatever that they say we are on there for, but I just loved it. I get bored very easily. But I was around before social media happened. Mark, you were there.
Well,
These two fine young people.
If
We're
it was
born into it.
invented in 1994, I was here a year before.
There you go. Well,
And
there
Sean's
was
What's up?
before that, the social media as we know it now, and of course, like after Morse code, there was the bulletin board systems, the BBSs, that were you would have a computer and you would use a dial-up network connection, and it would. I mean, the phone literally sat on Red Sox work. Love it. Thank you,
Yes.
Steph. That's it. Go Red Sox. I don't know what city they're from.
That's
but
football, Mark, in case you wondered.
football. Okay. I'm feeling like he's pulling my leg on this one.
Yeah.
But anyways,
You always
But
talk
no,
about
like
how
the
little-
bulletin board system, you used to have a computer and you would dial in to another computer or a server, and you could upload software, download software. There was message boards in there, but it wasn't widely known because you had to have a computer. And I mean, at the time, computers were very
unattainable.
they were unattainable. I mean, some people had them. I had a couple of friends that had them. We used to play on the bulletin boards and stuff like that, but it was nothing like it is today. I mean, you couldn't, there was no images and, music and,
The first image I ever saw printed from a computer was a dot matrix photo printed on that paper that went up with the little tabs on the side.
Oh yeah.
Of a naked woman. I thought it was the most incredible thing ever.
We'll never stop being friends.
Oh boy, that's funny.
Yeah.
Yep.
Crazy stuff. Anyway, so much has happened since then, obviously. There's so many different, oh geez, I can't use my phone for things and do this at the same time.
Yeah.
In case anybody's wondering, I'm using my cell phone for my video for the first time as well. I did bring a camera home. So anyway, apparently our chat is extremely delayed. Steph was just trying to tell me that.
Yeah.
Which is frustrating. But this is the first time we've been live. So whatever.
Yeah, there you go.
Social media. But when I was younger, growing up, we didn't have any social media. Like I was going to high school. I graduated in '89.
We didn't have cell phones.
Right, exactly. So if I graduated in '89 and the first social media term was coined in '94, there's a good 5 years that I was already in the working world before social media was a thing. I think I got my first Facebook in 2003. So life before versus life after is so different. What's important to people is different. Everything is just so changed due to this. So that's all I really wanted to say, Aurora.
Yeah, for sure.
Oh, definitely.
Did you have a MySpace page, Brian?
No, I never did.
No.
That wasn't cool enough.
Oh yeah, we used to build our own home pages. I had like all my friends had GeoCities pages, and we would, always building different web pages and web designs and stuff like that. It was interesting. I'm sure if GeoCities is still around, there's still a server somewhere with my pictures on it.
It's never gone either.
Yeah,
It's another scary thing altogether.
It's got to be around there somewhere. I should look.
Definitely. I know my parents had a MySpace for a little bit, but the first social media I ever got was Facebook. I was not allowed to have anything before Facebook. Brief period I had MSN, which was huge, especially for like my age group. The MSN, like coming home right after school and then jumping on MSN and updating your little like, I don't know, phrase. I forget what it was called. Of like whatever mood you were in or what your favorite song of the day was. So I guess that was the first thing, and then Facebook. Got Facebook in probably grade 11 or so. But yeah, for me it was Facebook. How about you? What was your, before we get into the deeper conversation, what was everybody's first social media?
Facebook, 2003.
Facebook probably.
I remember sitting on the bench when I was working at Nosh Car Audio. He had a computer, so that's the only computer I was able to use. And I sat there and made my Facebook profile. And I started following all these people from high school and people I didn't like. People probably didn't like me. And I'm like finding all these people that I knew names of. It was interesting.
Yeah. How about you, Mark?
It was probably actually before there was the social media pages. It was probably some of the chat rooms. Back in 1995, I'm trying to think here, 95, 94, 95, I worked midnights and I would come home and then I had a computer and it's my evening. So I'd have like dinner, and then I'd have a beer, and then I'd go to bed so that I could sleep to get up the next day. And I'm sitting there having a beer, and it's a Molson Canadian, and I look, and on the label it said I am Canadian.ca. And I went, oh, so I went to the website because, I was looking for something to surf, and there was a chat room in there. And that's where I met a lot of people. Like I remember my username was Tigger2 because Tigger was already taken. And when people asked why I was Tigger2, I'd say, well, because there's all this in Tigger2. But that was me. and you'd sit there and you would chat in this I am Canadian chat. And we actually there was meetups where Molson's would actually pay for us to go to a club in Toronto, and we'd go, and a bunch of the users from the Toronto area would show up and stuff like that. It was kind of fun. And it got to a point though where all of my friends, my actual friends in real life, were in this chat room, and we're all talking back and forth. And we even figured out that you could have two chat windows open on the same computer with two different users in it. So like my wife's user was open in one window, mine is in another. We're passing the keyboard and the mouse back and forth. And suddenly it's like, this is stupid. What are we doing? And so I finally, we're in Newmarket, and I finally went, Husky, coffee, 30 minutes, done. And we all went to, Husky, or maybe it was Tim Hortons. It didn't matter, but we all knew where we were going. And in like 30, 35 minutes, there was 10 of us there having coffee, talking in real life instead of chatting on a keyboard. It was that was my first real social media experience.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Okay, if we're talking about like chat room type of things, Sean, I don't know. I'm sure you would relate to this. Neopets.
No, believe it or not.
What? You never had Neopets? Okay, so that was like a really big thing.
I'm shaking. I just
don't know,
looked
like
at
it was like
my head's
6
shaking for some
or
reason.
7.
Yeah.
Neopets. Like when I was in like grade 6 or 7, maybe 5, this big thing came out. Yes, Neopets. Stephanie says in the chat there. Oh, I'm glad you know what it is, Stephanie. It's like a website where you had like you log in and then you create your pet, and then it has a name, and you can do the different colors, and basically like you feed the pet, and you have like a whole environment or whatever, and then people can visit your like pet's home and stuff like that. And there was little chats where you could talk to other people who had Neopets and stuff like that. I don't really consider it a social media, but it was like an internet thing, and you could talk to other people online who were playing Neopets. You could also like challenge other pets, like in Pokemon, you know how you can like fight, in the Pokemon show and in games and stuff like that. One Pokemon fights the other Pokemon, similar to Neopets. You could fight the Neopets in like a battle or something like that. There was all sorts of different little like games and stuff like that. But yeah, there was plenty of time that I went home after school and played Neopets and collected different pets and spent time, getting little things for my Neopets. But speaking of Facebook, so Facebook was my first ever social media, and it actually plays a big part in my relationship with Andrew, my fiance. We met in high school, and at the time, my phone didn't have text messages, so I couldn't text him. So I didn't have any social media or anything like that to talk to him. But over Christmas, there's a photo on social media or on Facebook, deep in my albums on Facebook, of my mom during Christmas with my family for Christmas, of my mom wearing a Snuggie and making this crazy face, holding the Snuggie and like goofing off in my grandparents' house. And because all my aunts and uncles wanted a copy of this picture, I basically bribed them into convincing my parents to get Facebook so that I could post this picture of my mom on Facebook. And one of the reasons why I wanted to get Facebook is so that I could talk to Andrew on Facebook. And I got it a little bit after that. And yeah, he was my second friend on Facebook. I guess he was checking on Facebook almost every day or something like that, or he just happened to check that day. Don't know exactly what happened. But my dad was there helping me set up my Facebook account and making sure that everything was safe and everything was good and I did everything right. And all of a sudden he sees a request and he says, "Oh, who's Andrew?" And I'm like, "Oh, just a friend from school." Little did I know, or he know back then, he would become my future husband. So, I mean, we spent many hours after school just talking to each other, messaging back and forth on Facebook. So, yeah.
See, that's something I missed with the high school not having the internet thing.
Yeah.
Sorry if my audio is different, but I had to unplug my better microphone because my phone almost died.
Oh,
Now I'm
no.
plugged in for power, not microphone.
Oh, there you go. Perfect.
Anywho, doesn't matter. I'm still here.
It's okay. We're still going. We're still trucking along. All right. I want to get into the part of the conversation where we talk about the things that people do for social media. So there are
Good, the bad, the ugly.
tons of different things, like challenges, huge thing. The ice bucket challenge, where people dump the
Yeah.
buckets of ice
Yeah.
on their heads,
did
or
that?
the Harlem Shake, where
Yeah.
people, dance all crazy for the Harlem Shake. People Rick rolling people.
Oh,
Um,
I get you guys all the time on that one.
Yeah, and it happens all the time.
Yeah.
The cinnamon challenge. Oh, all the weird food challenges, like
Yeah.
the hot sauce and
Ooh,
the like super sweet. People putting a bunch of sugar in their mouth, a bunch of salt in their mouth, stuffing as
Yeah.
many marshmallows or things into their mouth as possible, and seeing what happens on social media. Huge trends.
that one
Sorry.
chip challenge thing.
The-
Apparently, they're like having to pull out of Canada or something. They're getting sued.
Yeah, they've pulled them. Apparently, a young fellow.
Which one?
Passed. The one chip. There's I forget the name of the brand, but it's the world's hottest tortilla chip, and
Often kind of thing.
yeah, and it's one single chip in the coffin, and is like what you want another? It is the hottest chip apparently, and apparently I don't know whether I didn't read the article whether it was anaphylaxis or whether it was some sort of whether the kid went into shock because of the
how
extreme
spicy the
heat,
chip was.
how spicy it was.
The
Yeah.
challenge is
Oh, wow.
to see how long you can go without drinking water after eating the chip.
Oh, okay.
So it may have something to do with not drinking water or whatever. But until that's all determined, they pull these things from the shelves. And
Yeah.
so that's the social media fail.
Yeah, but I mean, it was no different than Tide Pod, the Tide Pod challenge. Like, why
Oh
would
my
you
gosh.
eat it? Why would you eat a Tide Pod? I don't know why you would eat a Tide Pod, but there's actually a lot of TV shows like I can't remember the name of the show exactly, but like something like a Chrono Mines or something where they're investigating social media challenges and kids are dying in the show. It's in the show, but it's always based on some form of truth, and they're trying to get to the brunt of it. Why are they purposely doing this to themselves when they know they could die? But it's a challenge because they're going to beat the neighboring school or something if more of them do it, or and it's unfortunate that the shows always mimic what reality is. Yes, Dusty, I see you.
Yeah, but it's something that definitely needs to be talked about because
Absolutely.
I mean, there's some things that are harmless, right? I mean, everything is good in moderation, but if we go too far and push it too far or do things that are unsafe for social media, that is not good. So, I mean, on that topic, I did quite a bit of research on here. There is an entire Wikipedia page of selfie-related injuries and deaths. Can I share my screen here?
What was?
Yeah.
Present.
Oh my God.
Share screen. Let's do this. Entire screen share. Okay. All right. List of selfie-related injuries and death. Can you guys see this?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so it has the country it happens in. It has the whole story and the date. So like it starts off the list. October 5th, 2011, in the United States, there were 3 deaths. 3 teenagers, 2 sisters, both 15, and a friend aged 13 were killed by Union Pacific train while posing for a selfie that was found on their phone near Salt Lake City. Shortly before they posted the message, "Standing right by a train, ahaha, this is awesome," to Facebook.
And they died.
And they died. Super sad. I mean, there's a ton of different things, you know, electrocution, transport. I mean, this is really sad going into all these details.
And this
but
is the ugly. This is the ugly
It's
part.
the ugly, yeah, absolutely.
yeah. So
well, one of the
there's-
parts of the ugly.
Okay, firearm. I know a lot of people heard about this. August 2014. I guess there was 2 very similar ones. A 15-year-old boy was critically wounded after accidentally shooting himself while taking a selfie. There's another one who died doing the same thing later. So I mean, there's a ton of different
Is it
things that
wrong
have
of me
happened.
to say that this is kind of survival of the fittest,
It is.
natural selection.
Natural selection, honestly, like it really is. Like there's a certain level of like stupidity. You know what I mean? Like especially when now, like with all the internet shit, like there's a certain level of like stupidity and you know, a bunch of morons on the fucking internet. But it's like, yeah, you stupid shit, like eat a Tide Pod or put a gun in my fucking head. You know,
Right?
Yeah.
You don't put a gun to your head no matter what.
No. Loader, you always treat a gun as if it's loaded and never pointed at anybody.
Yeah.
And putting it in my mouth and being like, "Oh God, look at this," and then like, you know, pulling the trigger, and it's like, what the fuck, right? Like, there's a certain level of stupidity where if you don't have the brain.
See, the thing is that people want to do something shocking or whatever to show that they're different or show that they're pushing the envelope or just to attract views and validation for them doing this crazy thing. But then they forget. You know, like,
because there was a time on Facebook, like I had barely any friends that gave a shit, and I was just bored at home one day, I was by myself, and the dumbest thing I could have possibly thought of to post on the internet just to make people laugh was to make and eat myself a bowl of chili, and then also like 20 minutes later make and eat myself a peanut butter sandwich. Like that was basically it. Like I live streamed it. They're on my Facebook somewhere still. And like that's all I did. And people got a fucking hoot at it. Like they were fucking dying. They were laughing so hard. Yeah. But like that's like my level of stupidity. Like I know I didn't have enough brain cells in my skull that I can do something dumb to that extent and not have to die for it.
That reminds me of the NPC trend that's going on right now.
Before we get into that, like, because I definitely want to talk about that because I think that's a really interesting topic for sure. I mean, this page goes on for ever,
a long time.
Like, I mean, it's up. The most updated one here was April 23rd, 2023 in India, decapitated. While trying to take a selfie on a helipad
with a running helicopter.
Yeah, okay. I mean, there's a ton of different things, like people, you know, taking selfies on the top of buildings, like this one social media creator, right? Why do you think people do this? Each one of you guys, like, completely take the normal rules, you know, from society and put them aside just so that they can get a picture.
It's the shock value, or I think, is why everybody does it. I mean, I prefer my shock value to come from a picture I photoshopped. You know, like I've got one. If you go through my Facebook, you'll find it. It's the digital dash of my Trans Am, and the speed showing on the dash is 199 kilometers an hour. And when I posted that, I had a lot of people going, "Oh my God, you're going to get a ticket. The police are going to come and find you." I'm like, dude, I shot the picture sitting still in my garage. Like it was 2 images. It was Photoshop and masking is all it was. But it's actually kind of cool. It looks like, you know, and I even made it so the tack is way up and the oil pressure and everything is all there. And it was a fun image to create. But I mean, who would think that you would get a crystal clear still picture going 200 kilometers an hour in any car as the driver? I don't know, but it's just one of those things where you make the picture And one of my friends actually commented once. He says, your pictures bug me because I never know whether they're real or not. Like whether did you actually do that? Like did you, and that was probably the biggest compliment anybody ever paid me about my Photoshop skills. Not that I'm a guru by any stretch of the imagination, but I learned how to make them look realistic when I'm photoshopping something in or out of a photo. So I think that's why people do it. It's the shock value. It's the likes. It's the some of them are, especially if they're doing it for money, right? They're doing it for money. If they're, I don't know how you would get monetized on any one of these platforms, but we've had lots of influencers on, like, that get paid for what they do on Instagram and whatnot.
It's actually interesting, and I don't want to cut Aurora's train of thought off on that. So, for Aurora, did you want me to add your screen share back?
Oh, no, it's okay. Like, I mean, you're off of that now, I guess, right?
Yeah.
No, I couldn't tell. No, but I'll just click the stop sharing button here. But yeah, I mean, there's a ton of different things, and I think you're absolutely right, Mark. That shock value is what people are going for when they're doing this type of things. They want to be different. They want to stand out. They want to shock people into watching their video, right? In order to get some likes and some validation, and to be like, oh, look at this crazy thing that I'm doing.
What's bothering me the most these days is the scuba stuff, actually. All the people with whales and sharks and aqualife, and they're down there pretending like it's cool, hanging out and touching a whale as it goes by, and it might be exhilarating and everything, but it's not good for the wildlife or bears that are in somebody's backyard, and the guy's treating it like it's his dog walking out. Like,
they forget they're wild animals.
These are wild animals, and you have to treat them that way, or else you endanger them.
Yeah.
And more people are sharing this stuff, and it's extremely hazardous to the people and to the animals. And I have no sympathy for the people when the shark chomps them in the side and they're trying to be friendly.
Or pulls them into out of the boat or whatever it may be. I saw some footage of a guy being pulled out of the boat because he was agitating the water where there were sharks.
Yep.
And obviously you shouldn't be doing that. People tell you not to do that for a reason.
Well, that's probably my new favorite term that's come out of the internet lately, and it's called "fuck around and find out."
Yes,
and I love it, like, because they fucked around. So yeah, it's Stephanie just said people trying to get pictures of their kids with wild animals makes me so angry, and she's right. There's Yellowstone. There's always people trying to get up close to the bison, and they're getting gored, or whether it's I remember we were in Jasper, and we were in rutting season. And I got out of the car to take pictures of the elk, and everybody's like, there's people like, oh my God, stay in the car, the elk, don't get near the elk. I'm like, dude, I have a 500 millimeter lens on my crop sensor camera. Like, I have no intention of getting anywhere near that elk. I just want to get a better angle on that elk. I want the tree out of the way, and I'm still a kilometer away, and I'm only 15 feet from my car. So yeah, I'm doing it safe. Unlike a tourist I saw in Alaska that was 10 feet from Mama Moose and her two babies, trying to take, and he had a long lens. I have no idea why he was trying to get so close. But I said to the driver of the bus, I said, can you stay until the guy gets gored? Because I want to get pictures of it. And he wouldn't stay. But yeah, I'm with Stephanie, though. People are like, they don't think about their own personal safety and the fact that they're wild animals. Like, even this guy here, my beautiful, handsome puppy, if you come to my house, I muzzle him when you come in the door so that it protects you and it protects him because he comes in hot. It's just because, he had a rough start to life, and that's Dusty. But I protect you and I protect him, and it protects me. And then after a time we do it. But he's not a wild animal, but he is a dog, and I have to respect that. And I have to respect the fact that he might nip you if he's not muzzled. So I'm not going to.
But that's also common sense, though.
Yeah.
You understand his history. You know he's a big dog.
Exactly.
It's common sense.
That's the thing, though. Like, there's people nowadays that just lack fucking common sense. Like, you would think that common sense is like one of those things that just like comes naturally to people, but us in the human race are like we have the capacity to be absolute fucking morons. It's just like determining whether or not in certain situations to be a moron and to do it safely, like much like because I'm a dickhead. Like I do a bunch of dumb shit. Like that's just who I am as a person. But like I do dumb shit within reason. You know what I mean? So like there's a level of common sense that I play in between. It's kind of like gambling. You have to like know your limit, like play within it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You've proven that just by getting out of jail.
That's fucking fact,
right?
That's funny.
you had common sense. You were polite to a cop, and it works in your favor.
Yeah,
I was a gun in his hip. Like I'm not
exactly.
Breathe from.
Don't fuck with a guy with a gun.
Yeah.
Sorry, language.
There you go.
Oh man. Yeah, that's amazing. Okay, on the positive end, of
positive.
People,
there's lots of positive.
There's lots of positive. You know, like some of the most subscribed to people on YouTube have donated hundreds of thousands of dollars to charity, doing charitable live streams or charitable videos. Lots of people have drawn, it's countless numbers of people have drawn attention to charities for many different causes. Actually, early in our episodes, we did some fundraising for the Henry's Foundation for Mental Health, which was really amazing. We ended up, as a result of Brendan's challenge to people, I guess it wasn't so much a challenge, but charity initiative, there's roughly, I think, $300 or so that was matched by Henry's Foundation on top of the donations that were already done for that. What?
I'm pointing at Mark.
Don't point at me. Don't point at me.
Which is
nice to point, Brian.
Which is amazing. So I mean, like, obviously we weren't to that same kind of level, but it's amazing when people can use social media for the positives. I see Stephanie's comment here: an unfriendly dog. I have an unfriendly dog, and when I decline kids to pet her, I have parents scream at me for not letting them. But my dog could bite, and I'm not risking it. Yeah, it would be so much worse if the dog bit the kid, right?
Dusty, like if I'm out walking him and I don't have his muzzle with me, because why would I have his muzzle when I'm just out for a walk? Like I stay away from people. If they ask, because we have the 2 dogs, if they ask to pet a dog, Chris will take Freya over and let them pet Freya. And then he sits there and he stares at me with these big eyes. And I'm like, dude, you can't, right? But if we say no, the amount of people that they're taken aback, right? But I do appreciate the fact that you asked if you could pet, instead of just walking up and go, oh, puppy, and sticking your hand in and getting nipped, right? Like, you know, and I mean, it's the same with, like, he's not dog friendly. He doesn't like dogs. So he likes Freya because she's his sister, not a dog. But, but no, it's a good point, Stephanie.
Yeah. So one of the going back to the positive topic, one of the accounts that I love following on Instagram is MD Motivator. He's Zachary Daranowski on Instagram. I'll share my screen. I'll pull up his information.
Yeah, I've got somebody that I like to follow as well. I'll share in just a sec.
Okay, sharing. There we go. MD Motivator. So he does these amazing videos where you know, he asks people for a random act of kindness, you know, like some money or free food or something along those lines. And if somebody, you know, says, yeah, sure, no problem, whatever, he goes back and you know, he talks to the people, and he goes back and he gives them money, right? So in this one, it had my heart. He went to a little kid and he asked the kid to draw something in 5 or 10 seconds, and he drew a pair of Nikes. He said, whatever you draw, I will buy. Now, would you rather, and then at the end he said, okay, I can buy you that, or would you rather give $500 to your mom? So the little kid says, I'd rather give $500 to your mom. So he gives the $500 to the mom, and the mom's so happy. And as you can see there, you can't really hear it, but it's amazing. And then he goes and he buys Nikes for her son and the rest of her kids.
Wow.
And someone else who was in the store as well, because the little kid wanted to give back to someone as well, just like he was doing that, which was really amazing. And he has so many different stories like that, just, you know, giving $1,000, taking people to, you know, football games and sports cars. And not only does he do that in the moment, the fundraising for that people, he also sets up kind of like a GoFundMe for a lot of the people that he has, and people raise money.
So how many followers does he have?
3.8 million followers.
So when you have that many followers, and if you scroll down to one of his posts, 3.9 million links, right? If you go to how to make money on social media, essentially you get, after a certain number, 1,000 likes, I believe, you start making money. So with each 1,000 more likes that he gets, he's just making big time money with that many views and that many likes. And I would like to know, though, is he using that money to pay these people, or is he independently wealthy and this is just a side hustle?
Well, I don't know. I'm not 100% sure, but the fact that he's giving this money in almost like pretty much every video he's putting out there, like, it doesn't matter whether it's the entirety of the money or, you know, half of the money or a percentage of the money, he is using that money and what his like social media presence to give back and just be kind. Literally every single one of these posts is for that. Right. And he's changing, you know, people's lives. He's making things better. There was one that I saw. I don't know if it was MD Motivator. It might have been MD Motivator, where he approached a veteran and took the veteran to Disneyland for the first time. He was in a wheelchair and he just had the happiest, like, best day, and gave him money at the end. And it was just like an amazing thing. Like, he spent the entire day with a veteran who, you know, didn't have any you know, family to take him around or do anything. So he was just sitting in the park and, well, maybe didn't have them with him at the time. He was just sitting around in the park, and he's like, oh, I've never been to Disneyland. And they went to Disneyland together. They went on rides, and it was just so amazing so many amazing things that have come through social media. Like, it's not just, it's not all bad. It's not all people getting injured or dying or doing stupid things or inappropriate things.
We talked about the ALS Ice Bucket Challenge. So I was challenged to do that by a friend of mine. I did it, and I did donate to ALS for that. Like, I went to the site and I made a donation. I did, and I don't usually challenge a person specifically, but I will put it out there to all my friends if I did something like that. So, and Chris videoed it for me, so it was fun. But yeah, there is a lot of good that can come out of it, whether we're raising money. Like, there was a fellow on TikTok, his name was Jax, and he walked across Canada. He followed Terry Fox's route, and he raised money for for cancer research. And he walked all the way across Canada. He came through Thunder Bay. I missed him. I was working that day, but he walked all the way from coast to coast. He did the same route that Terry Fox ran.
Can you imagine what Terry Fox would have accomplished if there was social media?
Yeah, and he made sure that he was he stopped at the Terry Fox Monument here in Thunder Bay, which was amazing, and he did a TikTok live from there. So it was he did a lot of good. He raised a lot of money, and then afterwards I sort of fell off of watching him. But there was, after he finished the walk, he's still raising money for cancer. He's doing other fundraisers to continue to raise funds. So I mean, a lot of good can come from these creators that are using their powers for good and helping to raise money. And for very worthwhile charities. The biggest problem we have now is, how do you choose a charity? How do you choose what's, like, because they're all worthy. They're all worthy to have a donation to, right? Like, I know you guys do the Henry Foundation. We do Jumpstart for Kids at work. You know, and we just did, unfortunately, it was during the time I was off, but there was the Jumpstart Walkathon. And I forget how many dollars my store raised, but it wasn't. We didn't raise a lot because I was sort of spearheading that, and then all of a sudden, a month before the walk, I'm off. So it kind of all crumbled. But my staff did still pick up some donations for that. So, but they're all very worthwhile charities, and it's hard to pick one. And so many, every time you go shopping, we're Alzheimer's or cancer or juvenile diabetes, everybody's asking for money for these different charities, and they're all worthwhile, every one of them.
Yeah. So we've had some other people join us.
Yeah, I see that.
A little bit. Count it out with Mike and Tyler. Awesome to see you guys doing this. Love. Keep up the great work. That's amazing. Juan Rojas. Juan. Him from the store, Henry store.
Mike and Tyler.
And Mike and Tyler.
That's supposed to say live, not love. It's not also live, supposed to say
hey, yeah. We'll take live or love. I don't.
Yeah, either one.
You're handing out free love. I'll take it.
And speaking of doing good on social media, just to give a shout out to Mike and Tyler, they do a lot of good stuff. I love those guys. They just Barry Wrestling the other day did their own podcast live from beginning of wrestling. They had the pre-show. They interviewed young Jay Lee, one of the wrestlers, the longest reigning Three Pistols champion of all time. And they did an interview live before the wrestling event. And that was awesome. Just editing photos of that before I did the show here tonight.
It's amazing.
It's fun stuff. Oh, I just wanted to mention there's this one person. We're almost at 9 o'clock already.
Yeah, I definitely want to talk about the NPC thing.
Yeah, definitely want to talk about that.
Yeah.
But this guy here, his name is Wanya D'Amelio, and he's known as the angry reactions guy. Oh. So he's, like you're saying, he's this angry looking dude, and he basically yells at people, telling them that they're incredible. Just being angry and yet telling you have to love yourself. And he does something. I was just watching this one video here where his Uber driver was working on Christmas Day, and to get his son the scooter he always wanted. So he ended up listening to the story and saying it's dope, and he ended up giving him $800 just to give his son this thing for Christmas. So again, it goes back to what you're talking about, being able to do good with social media, raising money for people that need it. And there are so many people that need it. So there's the good, there's the bad, and the ugly to social media. But I think understanding how to use it, keeping common sense in mind, we're going to see a lot of these really positive things come out of it.
Yeah.
And I hope there's more of it. For
sure. Yeah, like there's a bunch of social media accounts that I saw that are all positive. Like there's Good Advice Cupcake, which is like this little like cartoon cupcake, and it has these little like tidbits of good advice, or just cute little phrases or reminders to love yourself and say like give love to the people in your life and all kinds of different things. Another one I like to follow, kind of similar aspect to your angry guy shouting positive things. There's a girl that she talks in this like really high-pitched voice, and she just says, really motivating, happy things like, don't get down on yourself. You're doing a great job. Keep it up. Right. Like, and stuff like that. She always ends it up with keep it up, cutie. You're doing great or something like that. And I love following it just to have, that little bit of kindness in the day, a little bit of positivity. It's nice. It's nice seeing that because there's a lot of shocking and negative things on social media. For sure. Okay, so let's talk about the NPCs. One commented, not the lollipop girl. Well, maybe we're gonna have to talk about the lollipop girl one. I can't remember which one is the lollipop girl, but
it is this one.
This one. Oh, her. Yes. Okay.
You're not going to hear what she's saying.
Yeah.
But
so what is her name on social? Just so that
Pinky Doll.
Pinky Doll.
And I feel bad even showing this because by doing this, we're giving her a platform. And I can't stand this. But anyway,
okay, so NPC for for people who don't know, that terminology is a non-player character. It can be used in many. Ice cream's so good, Stephanie says. Oh man, that is one of the many things that she says. Pinky Doll says on these NPCs streams. But NPC is for people who don't know, is non-player character. It can be used in many different ways. Before I heard it in relation to social media, we often use that terminology when I'm playing D&D. Anybody who's listened to the podcast before knows that I play D&D, and we use NPC as the non-player characters in or non-playable characters in Dungeons and Dragons. People use it in gaming as well. When you're playing video game, they have somebody, I know that Sean's shaking his head or nodding his head yes in the background. I'm sure he's heard that a lot. It also became a bit of an insult for a while, which I found out about people insulting people by calling them non-playable characters in their own life. When a kid got stabbed or something like that for calling a guy an NPC.
In a store, I think.
In a store. I remember hearing about that. I think we actually talked about that on the podcast.
Yeah, we did. Yeah.
But now there's this new development in the NPC world, is that people do these live streams where they act like robotic NPC characters in video games, where they have, the little expressions and they say repetitive things, which often happens with NPC characters. They have a set 4 or 5 different things that they say. And if you interact with them, and if you run through all of those 4 or 5 things that they say, it recycles and goes to the very beginning of that. I ran into that many times playing video games. These characters these people who do live streams act like these kind of characters, and they say the same thing over and over again. Now, the reason why they do this is because if people type a certain thing, or put a certain emoji, or donate a certain amount to the live stream, this activates a particular action for that NPC to fulfill. Am I getting this right?
So people are basically tipping for a specific reaction from the person doing it. So if they want her to do lick a lollipop, then they do this. Then she'll go, it's just. Yeah.
So it's just a step before an OnlyFans page then.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
So you're basically paying someone to do a little action, or say a little thing, or make a little sound effect in a certain way. And some of these people, like they take it to the extreme. I've seen one where it's like this girl goes in like full cosplay and looks exactly like a character from a video game and does the exact same, movements and little sounds that video game character makes. There's a lot of them out there. Only when I was doing research for this, like there was seeing tons of different versions of this. Why do we think people will watch this for hours, let alone not watch it for hours, but also pay to get certain?
I can answer that.
Yeah,
if I may.
Go ahead.
She is very well endowed.
Well, there is that, and it goes back to Stephanie's Red Sox comment earlier.
Hey, I'm all for making money how you can. I'm all for freedom of expression. I'm all for all of these things. Yep. And I know certain people do things, and I love people that do that. There's people that I know that I'm very good friends with who do things like that. My concern with the NPC thing is you're not yourself. You're a robot character. People aren't loving you for who you are. They're loving you for this and visually what you look like. You can do a lot of things. But you can have an OnlyFans. You can do all kinds of things, and that's amazing because people are gravitating to you for you.
Yeah, but thinking about Stephanie's husband is a wrestler. I'm reasonably sure, now not having met her, but I'm going to guess that Stephanie's husband, the wrestler, and the persona that he puts out on stage is a completely different person that comes home and eats dinner with Stephanie. So yeah, she just said, yeah. So it's a persona, it's a thing, right? And it's, they're not in the character, they're not themselves. But then also think about, I saw a tweet or an X or whatever they call them now, that somebody had said, Dolly Parton has been married for 50 years and nobody knows what her husband looks like, and it's because Dolly Parton's not blonde. When Dolly Parton goes out, she's not in her costume, and her husband is safe from the public eye because nobody knows what she looks like when she's out of costume, and they don't know who her husband is. So it's one of those things where when you're
very clever pre-planning. That's a smart woman who knows the business,
absolutely
understands human people, and is smart.
Yeah, exactly. Like you and Aurora and myself were in customer service, right? We work retail. So generally the person that your customers get is the person that we're seeing here. And it's, I'm going to say mostly true. I mean, my customer service voice is a lot different. I don't swear to my customers and things like that. I'm a lot nicer of a person when I deal with my customers, with the exception of Mr. Prince, and he knows who he is if he's watching. But that was very many years ago, so he's probably not watching. But I'm sure he remembers. I'm sure Mr. Prince remembers the incident. So, anyways,
we always remember the names of the people.
Yes, absolutely. But you're when you're an entertainer, you're selling that persona. So whether it be for likes on TikTok and donations, or whether you've got an OnlyFans account, I still think I should do an OnlyFans account where I just wear like jeans and shirtless because I'm tattooed, I have a beard, and I have a dad bod, and I do household things. I could just like people could pay me to vacuum the house, and my wife
or to play with Dusty.
Pay me. Yeah, well, he's
that's a whole different.
So hey, wait a minute. Are you guys getting paid because I play with Dusty on the show?
Let's see it, Mark.
All right. No, I will not sell myself out.
Not yet.
Dory West, you need to join my OnlyFans page.
Totally off into that for sure.
Oh man, yeah. Maybe I will check out OnlyFans if you do that. I honestly, I've only ever heard random things about OnlyFans.
Okay. Woo! Okay. Okay.
Oh, that's funny. I didn't mean
if
for
I
it
was
to
a
come
good
off
looking I would consider OnlyFans. Nobody wants to see this.
Well, I would have thought that too, but yeah, look, Sean's like,
Sean wants to see this?
I honestly
missing.
Nobody's signing out, dude.
Hey, it might be the only retirement plan I have.
Oh man, yeah. There's so many things like that. Like there was this one thing that I heard about. There's the OnlyFans and there's the foot one. What's the foot one? People
foot
like,
fetish?
It's like feet finder or feet something.
I don't search these.
And people just post their pictures of their feet and they get paid for pictures of their feet.
Shelley was joking about doing that.
Yeah.
I mean,
I don't know how much she was joking.
If you want to do that to make some money.
Moving on.
Question. Feet finder.
Before we say goodnight tonight, I do want to ask a question to each of the hosts. So we got to allow for a little bit of time for that.
Let's do that.
You ready for that?
Yeah, ready.
Awesome. Feet finder, Stephanie says. By the way.
There you go.
Thank you, Steph.
If you've got a fetish, it's on the internet. I'm telling you.
Okay, so there have been times that I've had these ideas that I think are fantastic for social media. I don't follow through very well. It seems to be a thing. So my question for my three other amazing co-hosts is, what ideas have you had for social media that you haven't followed through on yet?
Ooh,
that's a fucking good one, dude.
I'll start because I don't want to end the show with me talking. So
go for it.
My idea is something called, The Real Dark Knight 42. I've already have an account on TikTok, and I'm planning to do a light painting thing. So I'm going to have my desk here, I'm going to have my setup, and I'm going to have a mask, because again, nobody wants to see this. And I'm going to put a black light on in the room. So when you see the mask, it's just going to be lit by a black light. So I'm going to imagine, come to the camera, look like this with the mask, pull back, and then show a prop, something.
I thought you were going to grab the cow. I was like, I want to see the cow.
So I'll take that prop and I'll kind of throw it down onto the counter. And then it'll go into like a time lapse, and I'll do a light painting thing, and then it'll stop, and I'll take the photo I made, and I'll go and throw it at the screen, and you'll see the final product. No
That's
speaking,
cool
music, nothing, just an all black background with the black light doing its thing. And that was my idea.
So it would be perfect for me to watch, because I never watch TikTok with the sound on.
Yeah.
half the time, like, Chris was like, what's he saying? I'm like, who cares? Look at what he's building. Like,
this is it. It would kind of appeal to a lot of people, I think. But the follow through is my problem. I'm stuck on what mask do I want to wear. You know, like it's been stuck on that for a year or something.
I think you should get a Sean mask and put it on.
A Sean mask.
Yeah.
I think that if there's something that we
you know what? He kind of looks like, with the mustache and the goatee, the way he's got it, it's almost like the Anonymous Hackers. So, you know.
No, that's 2 years though.
I want something new. Anonymous doesn't like that either, right? Because they serve a purpose.
I was born with this. I can't take it off, dude. Like, it's Halloween every day of the year for me, man. Like, I want to tell you.
That's why I grew the beard. It was to cover some of it up. Nobody wanted to see it, right? So, yeah.
Have you guys had any ideas of things you wanted to try?
I already shared mine. OnlyFans. That's it.
All right. Well, we can make that happen.
But no, for me, honestly, it was back when I thought I was actually going to make a go at, and I mean, I suppose I could at any point. I mean, I'm still young, provided that other artery doesn't try to take me out. But I do have a photography page for my photography. I call it a business, but it's to showcase my photography. And I suppose I could make a go out of being a portrait photographer, or you know, whether it be portraits, or I'm done with weddings. We've talked about that. So the bride is very happy with her pictures, by the way, on that last wedding. So
good.
My job here is done. And I suppose I could do that, but I've also got a couple of other ideas, but I don't know whether I would ever bother trying to monetize it at all. But that would be just like, because again, I love cars, and to maybe do photo shoots of cars. I've got a couple of ideas that I, before my 4-week hiatus, had talked to a couple of people at a car show about some ideas with their cars, but that's now going to have to wait till next year, because the car shows are over here in Thunder Bay, because we could get snow tomorrow.
Sean?
I mean, I had like an idea, but I mean, like, the one idea that I know that I've followed through with, I do with John on a weekly basis. Ever since like the whole pandemic started, and I really hope he's listening, because he's the guy that started this shit, and I'm just the guy who, you know, jumped on the ship and now I can't get off.
All John's fault. It's all John's
fault. He's great.
Love and miss John.
Yes.
He misses you guys too. Don't worry. He tells me all the time. But the one thing that we did was we started Planet Pointless, right? Like, it wasn't like just for us to kind of, you know, have yucks back and forth, so that way we weren't going batshit fucking crazy, right? So when we delivered that podcast to, you know, whatever portion of the public listens, all 5 of you, whatever which, it's what he says all the time. It was mainly to give people like that little bit of distraction from, you know, daily life, like just bullshit. You know what I mean? So we did Planet Pointless to, you know, kind of give people that like little mental break and being like, what the fuck did this guy say? Like, why are they talking about gummy bears that make them shit themselves? Like what the fuck, right? So we did that to, you know, to help everyone else and ourselves kind of like deal with, you know, the process of dealing with a worldwide pandemic, and, you know, daily life, and people who suffer with depression and anxiety. Like, we are there to specifically give you that, like, you know, that break to be like, I need to laugh. This is what I'm going to listen to. So, like, even me, like, I listen to my own podcast, much like Kanye West listens to his own music. That's just how it is. It's just, I enjoy it because it gives me that, you know, kind of step back to be like, this is fucking funny. Like, I think I'm funny. I don't know if I'm funny. I'm not, but I don't know.
You're funny.
I can do that podcast, like our podcast, for hours, just for hours, and not get sick of it at all, and like re-listen to all the stupid shit that comes out of my mouth on a regular basis. And that's like my, you know, my sense of removing myself from a shitty reality. You know what I mean? The idea that I haven't followed through on yet, I've seen it all over the internet. Like, I've seen a bunch of people do it, is basically just wear a giant sign, big fucking sign, that says, like, if you need a hug, like, I'm fucking here. I'm a hugger. I love giving hugs. It's just how I am as a person. Like, I go to family reunions. The one thing I hate is when people kiss me on my cheek. I'm just like, just bring it in. Just give me a hug. I don't care. I'll hug you. I don't give a fuck. Just don't do anything more and don't do anything less. We're just so I don't know. Sometimes people, you know, like, they're having a rough day, and, you know, a hug is not meant to be paid for. So if you need it, you know what I mean? It's there. If I do it eventually at some point, and, you know, I don't even film it, to me it'll be, you know, one of those things that I can do to kind of like help other people. You know, if they're having a shitty day and you're like, fuck, like, I need a hug. Like, I'm gonna go hug this random dude that looks like a dollar store drug dealer. Fucking sick. Bring it in. I'm here, dude. Like, I'll wear my comfy sweater. I don't give a fuck. You gotta cry, dude. I got tons of these. I'm good.
I thought you were gonna say you were gonna wear your Kevlar because you turn them in.
You know what we should do, Sean, is you go on one street corner with your free hugs, and I'll go across the street with a sign that says free shrugs.
Meant to be paid for.
I love Wes. Look at it.
Instant quote.
Yeah,
it's true. Am I wrong? I'm not wrong.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Oh, hey, I played with that, but no, it's a great idea, Sean. I was in Toronto doing the opening of a store in my previous career, and there was a guy standing outside the Eaton Center with a sign that said "free hugs." So I went and got a hug. It was midday. I was out for lunch. I'm like, yeah, I could use a hug. It's been a hard day. I'm at it. So
and it helps, right? Like, it's one of those like, it's such a small thing that, like, you know, somebody could be having like the worst day of their fucking life. Like, they could be not even an inch off the edge of the bridge, dude, and like a hug can do wonders. It's fucking insane. Like, it's nuts. Like, sometimes, like, I'll go visit my mom, and, you know, if she's having a rough week or whatever, I don't know. She doesn't talk to me about that kind of shit, but I give her a hug the second I get there. I give her a couple while I'm there or whatever. I give her one before I leave. And she texts me the whole way home. She's like, I can't, like, she's like, I love you so much. Like, you made my day. I'm like, great. Like, this is what I do. Like, mind you, I'm related. So technically I have to do that. It's like by law. If I don't, I'm going to go to
jail. Nice.
Yeah.
What about you, Aurora?
Oh, man. I got to say, there's so many different things that I've thought of. Like, I thought of doing, like, vlogging. I've thought of, there was this thing that I saw that was very popular on social media. Go to like a busy place, and as like a photographer, and then you ask random people if you could take pictures of them, and you take their photo and you show them the result, and then you give them your email and you'll send them the photo later, right? It super popular on social media, and just the reactions that I've seen people have, like, oh wow, I didn't even know I looked like that, or wow, that's amazing, like, this looks really cool. I've had that so many times when I've done photo shoots for people, like paid photo shoots, or even not paid ones. Like when I did the shoot at Good Life, I had so many people tell me, oh my gosh, like I look amazing, or like, thank you, like, you really like made me look like my best self, and that kind of thing. And it always feels really good when people like compliment your photography like that, and also it feels good to hear that, you know, that people are feeling good about themselves and they love the way that they look in the pictures, and they feel better about themselves, feel better about their day. So I feel like that would be cool. Another idea that I had in relation to the podcast was going through and writing down every single challenge and then recording myself completing said challenges. I've wanted to do this since we started the podcast, and do like a whole video on me doing the challenges. And I attempted it a couple times with a few different things, but I haven't fully followed through on it. And, you know, I've lost the videos or deleted some of the videos. I just feel, a lot of the time, I just feel awkward about myself. Especially like recording myself by myself.
I get that
in my house. Completely. Like it seems a little weird, but I gotta just get past that, because I think that would be really interesting content and something that we could put up on the podcast, because the podcast really, like, we started it for a similar reason, what Sean was explaining with expressions, similar to
Planet
Pointless and expressions. Like, it was started during the pandemic. There's a lot of parallels. We wanted to, you know, just get together and, you know, talk about something positive, talk about something inspirational during some really difficult times, and talk to really cool, inspirational people. And doing it online this way, like live streaming it with StreamYard, it makes it so easy, because you don't have to be in person. You could stay completely social distance. We're all in different places. Like, I mean, me, Brian, and Sean live fairly close together, but Mark lives in Thunder Bay, and then we've had guests all over the world, which is pretty amazing. Like England, Japan, what was it, Bulgaria? Like all over the different things, different places in the world. And I think it's just amazing that we've connected with so many awesome people, and we have people who are watching and listening to us, which is amazing. And I think this is really cool that now at the end of season 3, we're doing our first ever live stream, and we've had some really good interaction. We love that. Like, we don't do this for money. We don't do this for anything other than, you know, ourselves and wanting, you know, just to have a nice little chat with inspirational people, with each other, and it's amazing that we can keep doing this.
I agree.
So, yeah.
Can I share that, Mark?
Sure.
Yeah, I want to see that. Yeah, look at that.
Oh.
Yeah, he was outside the Eaton Center. I did the soft opening at the Shoppers Drug Mart that is in the old Hard Rock Cafe downtown Toronto. So that was in front of the Eaton Center. I also just want to notice that you'll note how much whiter my beard is now. but if you really pay close attention, you'll notice the face is thinner behind that beard. So I'm very proud of that.
Oh, there you go. That's amazing.
Stephanie
with the hearts.
Free hugs. There you
go.
Oh. Thank you.
I think that's all
That's all we had.
That's all we have. Okay, so do we have a challenge for people?
Oh, can I get that one?
Yes. Sean, please.
Challenges. I love it. It's fantastic.
Fantastic.
Okay, so on the topic of social media then, along the lines of Brian's last question, if you're gonna like do something, you know, positive with social media to any degree, try and at least do one thing this week. If it's, you know, starting a podcast, much like me and John or the Expressions crew and myself, just to kind of give people some form of escape from whatever bullshit that they deal with on a regular basis, or, you know, like if you want to go out and you want to, you know, talk to a bunch of people, you know, take photos of them like Aurora said, or, you know, give them a hug, or, you know, ask them about their day, and, you know, or yell angry compliments at people. Like I've been dying to do that shit. Yep. I yelled angry compliments at John a couple weeks ago. I was like, "You're fucking fantastic. Never stop being my fucking friend ever." He was like, "You." Same thing.
What he said.
Take social media, do something like relatively positive with it, at least once, just one time. Yeah. You know, do a live stream. You know, eat a bowl of chili like I did. Just, make sure that you're doing something with,
there you go.
social media that is a positive thing that can impact other people or something positive for yourself. Like, do something that is for the greater good of yourself or the human race using social media at least once.
Yeah, definitely COVID brought a lot of that out of people, for sure. Like the Angry Reactions guy, he was, from what I understand, homeless, didn't really have much, and then all of a sudden he has this idea, follows through with it, and now he's giving people $800 for a scooter.
Nice.
So it's awesome.
Perfect.
Before we go, I do want to say one thing. I remembered one thing. I want to thank, we were talking about people watching us and interacting us from all over the place. I was doing some analysis of our podcast, the audio podcast. Apparently, there's a listener in Purdue, Saskatchewan, who has downloaded 170 of our things.
Amazing.
170 times.
Wait. We
What?
have 100. How many? Do we have
Downloaded, watched 170 times. So
wow. Well, thank you.
We don't have
Purdue,
that many
Saskatchewan.
shows. So you must be watching.
Thank you, Purdue, Saskatchewan.
So that's awesome. Thank you.
That is so cool.
Appreciate it.
Wow.
People watching from all over the place.
That's Purdue, Saskatchewan, our biggest fan.
Sing for us, please.
You know who you are. We love you.
Yeah.
I mean,
absolutely.
we love all the people who listen to us.
There you go.
And to everybody who watched us here tonight, thank you so much. It's been a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Aurora, anything you want to close with?
No. This has been great, and it's a great way to end off season 3. And if you like our content on social media, give us a like, share to other people, comment. We love interaction. Like just give us a comment, or even if you have a suggestion for an episode, like what kind of topic we could do, or if you want to be a guest on our show, or if you know somebody who'd be willing to be a guest on our show,
Or if you want to challenge us.
or if you want to challenge us with something, interact with us, like write a comment, send us an email. It's expressionsofpodcast@gmail.com, correct?
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah, send us an email, and or DM us on Instagram, whatever it may be. That would be amazing. So thank you so much, and have a great night. I do.
You're awesome.
Oh, Stephanie, thank you.
See you, everybody. Take care.
See ya. Bye-bye.